Meet me in the foyer.
You're back again? How lovely to see you! As you know, I'm Jawa, and thank you for choosing to meet me in the foyer once again. And wouldn't you know, fresh from the screening room, it's Critic's Choice, or our choice of critic herself, Linda Marrick. How you doing, Linda?
Howdy, how are you? Believe it or not, I still haven't been in a screening room yet this year. I've
Really?
watched plenty of films,
Mm.
but I've been lucky enough to have screeners for them, but I
Oh,
have yet to make it to an actual screening. But next week I'll start all over again.
exciting times. Well, you get very busy next week, do
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you?
I mean, I was busy this week, trust me. So
Yeah.
just it just happens that I was lucky enough to have seen everything that's on offer, either at the
Right.
film festival or as a screener for the to vote at various awards. So I've been
Okay.
lucky.
So you've seen it all, and you've had to keep it secret from us until you're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, not so much secret. I mean, I the 28 years later, it was embargoed until last night.
Mm.
But any of the other movies have actually been out there and reviewed already, just not been out to the public yet. So,
Okay.
mhm.
Lovely. So what will you be bringing us this week, Linda?
As I mentioned there, I'll be bringing a review of this actually the second installment of the current trilogy. Or are we saying franchise? I don't really like to call them franchise because they are so much more deeper than just a franchise of
Mm.
the 28 years or 28 movies, 28 years later movies. The second one is directed by Nia DaCosta, and it's coming out this Friday, and it's called The Bone Temple.
Fantastic. And anything else?
Yes, I am also reviewing Rental Family, which actually premiered in London at the London Film Festival
Oh,
quite a long time ago now.
yes, yeah,
I know October feels so far away when you think about it in January.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I saw this a good few months ago, and you'll know later what I thought of it.
Fantastic. And of course, I'll bring you another classic to consider, and we'll bring you the latest movie news and the opening act, which is the box office top 10. So let us begin.
Meet me in the foyer.
The box office top 10 this week, as it stands, as we record, starts with a classic celebrating its 40th anniversary. It's been out for a week. It's Labyrinth in cinemas, starring the late, great David Bowie. And of course, Jim Henson's puppets to the fore in that one. At number 9, it's Giant. Its first week of release. That's the Prince Nassim Hamed sports biopic starring Amir El Masri and Pierce Brosnan. Which looks interesting. I mean, I don't mind a sports biopic, I've got to say, and Nassim's story is a particularly interesting one, and of course it's got Pierce Brosnan in it, so that's quite appealing.
I
Um,
haven't seen it. I
no,
haven't seen it. No, I was. I just. It's one of those that I've missed in the whole in the Christmas hoo-ha. Yeah, I missed it. Sorry.
fair enough. No, it's allowable. Above that, number 8 is Song Sung Blue, the Hugh Jackman, Kate Hudson story starring film, sort of around the Neil Diamond legend. That's taken 1.8 million now at the box office, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked it. Very, very sweet and very unassuming, if slightly wiggy, as I said last time.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, Hugh Jackman's so charismatic; he can win you over in anything. I think, even a terrible wig. Um, Above that, perhaps less charming, it's Anaconda, starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd, which is, I'll wait for that to be available at home release, I think.
Same. I haven't seen it either. Sorry, I'm not being a very good critic this week, but I haven't seen it. I have absolutely no wish to see it, but obviously, being a completist, I will see it
You will
when
suffer
it's
through
available. Yeah.
it. Above that, I will watch this as a completist because I've seen the others. It's SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants in its third week on release that's made nearly 7 million now, which
Oh,
is
well, there you
amazing.
go.
Yeah. And another animation just above that, it's Zootropolis 2, 7 weeks on release, nearly 30 million now for that animated sequel, which I look forward to catching at some point.
Still making money, and still why not? It's It's a good animation. It's fun.
And where are we now? Half term's nearly a month away, so it'll probably moved on by then. But you could, who knows? It might still be available in some of the big multiplexes. Above that, proper cinema. It's Marty Supreme on its third week of release. That's made 9.4 million. A particular favourite of Linda, as we've mentioned before, and will pop up again in the news later in the show.
Great movie, fabulous movie. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a long one, but if you haven't seen it yet, please go pay your money and go see proper cinema on a big screen. Really fabulous. It's just, I saw someone earlier on the internet on one of the socials say, we're living through a great era of cinema, and I tend to agree. And I think some good movies are being made by some people who genuinely love film and love cinema and are not doing it just for the money. And regardless on whether this makes it has made this money back, I'm happy to report it's not made yet enough to be be thought of as a successful movie, but that's fine. Right. And it hasn't lost any money. That's the main thing. And can I say it's not all about the money? It's also about the art and making movies for the sake of movies, and it's wonderful. And Chalamet is absolutely brilliant. He's just won the Golden Globe. I think you probably were going to mention that, and it's 100% well deserved. He puts in the best performance of this year in the male category, so not surprising.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely. And above that, franchise fare, or big movie epic franchise fare in the form of Avatar: Fire and Ash. It's been out for a month now. It's made 35 million. And there'll be 2 more on the way in a few years, I expect. But I think we've covered Avatar: Fire and Ash already. But above that, there are opinions differ, but this would qualify as real cinema as well. It's Hamnet and its first week of release. That's made 3.2 million and has also done rather well at the Golden Globes this week.
I've said everything I need to say about Hamnet. I think there is one really extraordinary performance, and the rest of it a little bit manipulative, and I don't think it's a great movie, but each to their own. And I've seen better movies about Shakespeare and better movies about Hamlet, so
check those out then. Which means number 1, a film that was number 2 or 3 last week but has risen to the top in its third week of release, making just under 18 million. It's The Housemaid, starring Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried.
Would you like to see what you're getting yourself into? Sure. I'm dying to see it. It's like fucked up.
It's a crazy story, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I want to watch. Guilty as charged.
Let me know how it ends.
I mean, all those people who said Sydney Sweeney can't hold a box office, you can eat your words. I'm sorry, but it's a complete fluke for her and for everyone else. The only reason this movie is super successful is because it's an adaptation of a very super successful novel, and that is the only reason that it is popular. I'm no Sydney Sweeney flag waver. I just think she's been thoroughly misunderstood, and it's partly her fault for not clarifying where she stands. But so many people were just like in a hurry to denigrate her talent and denigrate her staying power, and I think they were wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, a success like this will surely make her more appealing to future casting
Absolutely.
directors. So yeah, we'll certainly see more of her and see if she can prove the naysayers wrong. But yeah, so that's the box office top 10 for this week. And now it's time for a review.
Meet me in the foyer.
Perhaps post-Christmas, your own family have driven you to despair and you wish you could replace them. Well, great news, as Linda is here to share her thoughts on a new comedy drama from director Hikari, starring Brendan Fraser, called Rental Family. So where do you sign up and how much will it cost? Let's find out.
So, what do you think we do here?
We sell emotion. We play roles in the clients' lives. Parents, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends, and help them connect to what's missing.
I'm just an actor. I don't know how to help people.
What I'm offering here is a chance to play roles with a real meaning.
What do you need me for?
We need a token white guy. This girl needs a father.
Hi, Mia. I'm your father.
I'm your father.
Hello, Mia. I'm your father.
I hate you.
She hates me.
It's what being a parent is. You could live in this country for 100 years, and there will still be things you won't understand.
Why do you do this?
Sometimes, what we all need is someone to remind us we exist.
These people look at you like they've been waiting for you their whole lives. And what you'll discover is that they stay with you.
Well, this is amazing.
It's cool, but it's fake.
You know, sometimes it's okay to pretend.
I saw this film, as I said earlier, at the London Film Festival all the way back in October, and I was very worried whilst writing my review this week for The Sun that I wasn't going to remember much of it. But lucky enough, I did remember, and I was. I also remembered why I liked it and why it may not work for some people, but it really worked for me. We all love Brendan Fraser, and he continues. It's lovely to see him continue his well-earned comeback in, renaissance, as people might say. And he delivers another tender, quietly funny performance, and it's kind of a bittersweet look at loneliness and someone who lacks connection in modern-day Japan. So Fraser plays Philip, a washed-up American actor whose brief fame came from a Japanese toothpaste commercial many years earlier. Now he lives alone in Tokyo, and he's drifting through failed auditions and empty evenings where he's watching other people's happiness from the windows of his apartment that he shares with no one, just with himself. And so he's, as he is someone who's routinely and daily looking for acting jobs, he is hired to attend a living funeral. He doesn't quite understand what that means, but he does go. So he goes to this funeral. That's the first scene. It's got really quite a funny. This is actually sweet, serious, but also extremely funny. So he's attending this funeral of someone who's still alive, and he doesn't realize that happens. And then suddenly, when the guy who is supposed to be in his casket gets up, and he's absolutely terrified. It's a really funny scene. I don't know if it's in the trailer or not, but it actually at the screening I was at, it was attended by Brendan Fraser, and who was sitting really very close to us, and people were just absolutely falling over themselves laughing. So it does have quite a few of those moments, and it's very I felt it was very Japanese in its comedy. I don't know if that
Okay.
makes sense when I say that. It has a very obviously it's a Japanese movie in kind of half Japanese, half in the English language. But when I say it has a Japanese sensibility in the comedy, it's everything is kind of like turned up because that's how comedy is done over there, and
Mm.
sort of you don't expect it to be. I don't know if you've seen you must have seen loads of Korean and Japanese movies where comedy is done very physically as well,
Yeah.
and where we might see it as a bit overdoing it, over there is part of the whole kind of kabuki stuff. It's attached to the tradition of comedy in theatre and in cinema, so you've got to be you've got to understand that sensibility to be able to put up with that. So that's his life changes when he's hired to do this live-in funeral thing. But soon he is taking on increasingly personal roles. He's hired to pretend to be the husband to a woman whose parents don't know that she is a lesbian, and he they put on this whole sham wedding, and in the end you kind of find out what it was all for, and it's quite a lovely tender, and it makes him feel like he's doing something good and he's
Mm.
not just taking advantage of people. He's also hired to be a pretend father, pretend dad to this girl who doesn't know her dad very well, and that is quite a bit of a sad story, quite morally sort of ambiguous for him. He doesn't know why he's doing it, and he hopes that he's doing it for the right thing. So I just think he's absolutely brilliant in this. I really love Brendan Fraser. I love him in
Mm.
everything. He just seems like a big kid,
Yeah.
So he brings a sort of a lovely awkwardness to this character, and he mixes physical comedy with deep emotional openness. His performance is understated, but also human, very humane, and it has a tenderness that we don't see in many mainstream movies. So there are really good supporting turns from Takeshiro Hiro and Shannon Gorman. And then the film in the end, sort of, I feel like it should be, it is a story about this phenomenon of rental families, which is a real thing in Japan. It is actually a real thing where you can rent a family if your family situation is not great, or you can rent someone to pretend to be someone who is close to you if that kind of relationship is not working. And I felt like I really wanted to know more about that, but all in all, that it doesn't really matter that it's not really broached that deeply. I think stands on its own as a lovely little comedy with a little bit of sadness. I just think this is beautiful, and also I'm glad it was made by a Japanese director who knows her craft inside out. And at the end of the day, if this had been made by an American director, I don't think it would have been as good as this. I
Mm.
really liked it. I thought it was tender, beautiful. Brendan Fraser can do no wrong in my eyes, and seeing him succeed and again get roles like this where he is front and back of everything is fabulous. And yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it's not got it hasn't had that much I mean, award season is really weird this year because there are like three or four front runners and everyone else is being completely swept underneath,
Right.
and it feels as though it doesn't matter if you're not Hamnet, one but after another, um, or Multi Supreme, you don't exist. So,
Yeah.
or Sinners, you don't exist. So, it is a little bit sad that the smaller, kind of more quirky movies are not doing. But it's a great year for cinema. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, all in all, I really liked it.
Fabulous. I mean, that's great to hear because, like you, I'm sure from the trailer, it just sort of wins your heart. He's so charming. He's your sort of classic comedian that really gathers a sort of love from the audience because
Yeah.
so lovable. He has a sort of fragility about him, but he's also so funny. He should be regarded very highly because he can do everything really. He can be the big action star, but he can also be the sort of the dramatic actor and the delicate comedian. And it's such a great concept.
Yeah, and Hollywood treated him very unfairly for many, many years, and it's about time that they gave him his flowers. It's about time that they brought him back and, showed him that there's more to Hollywood than just being this kind of a svelte, good-looking ladies' man. And you can be a fabulous actor, a great actor, and also be a very normal person, because he is a very normal person as well,
It's funny how they'll sort of build people up and up and up and up, and then you do one thing wrong, and I mean, I believe for him it's just a couple of dud movies, and you're gone. No one will trust you again. It's very strange.
Well, I mean, let's hope it's not the same now, because I mean, in the time of Miramax, that's what was happening. If you messed up with the wrong person, you never worked again. And Miramax had the monopoly on all these, award season movies. It was like, give my movie an award or you're never getting access for anything. So I think those times are over in Hollywood, thank God, and let's hope that things are done a bit more ethically.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it was kind of what I was referring to previously with Sydney Sweeney, because despite her sort of online popularity, her Christie had done rather poorly at the box office, and that her current success will hopefully sort of give her a nice foundation to do more.
I think Christie got treated very poorly. I disagreed with most people. I think she was very good in it. I really genuinely thought she was very good in it, and I think she was just, I guess, the whole movie got swept into that whole thing about her being MAGA or not MAGA, and as it turns out, she is not. And I'm happy to sort of report that she's not, because she said she isn't. And she says the reason why she never addressed any of it isn't because of anything, because it's been instilled in her. That's what they do in Hollywood. Don't ever address controversies, which doesn't work in this day and age, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not.
In this day and age, you have to address controversies. Otherwise, people will just carry on having that kind of opinion of you.
It's very true. Very true. And one final thing, so to qualify for this current season of awards, your film, it doesn't have to have gone on general release. It just has to have come out in the film festival season. Is that right?
No, there is a window.
Yeah.
So you've got to have, I don't know what the Oscars or Golden Globes are, but I know that our awards are from end of February to like mid-February or something like that, from one year to the other. So 2025, February 2025 to February 2026.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah, that's how it works. So you get like a release window, and I think the Oscars is probably the same.
Yes,
probably even longer actually for the Oscars.
And I'll mention those again later on in the news. Brilliant. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing that when it gets released. Is it that's out this weekend? Is that right?
Friday, yes, this Friday.
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Linda. So that's your first option for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
So why don't we move on now to the news? I've been hinting at it so far, so why don't we get into it? We could be in danger of demonic possession through podcasting, at least according to the trailer for new A24 horror Undertone, due out in March.
Do you hear something?
Welcome to the Undertone podcast, where we talk about all things creepy. I'm your in-house skeptic, Evie Babbage, and my believer co-host says he has a real treat for us today.
We're listening to 10 mysterious audio recordings from an anonymous email.
Oh my God. Are you implying there's hidden messages in it?
Let me play it back in reverse.
Play the next one. Let's find out.
What is that? Where is that coming from?
We should stop listening.
What is this?
What if we unleash something?
You shouldn't have called out to her. It's what she wants.
Great news for movies rather than cinema. Jackass 5 has been confirmed and is set for release in June.
Love those movies. I don't care.
Always a good one.
Bring it on. I love Jackass. I think those movies are so good.
Absolutely. The original and the best stunt show by a mile. And yeah, they're always fun. Unlikely to storm Cannes and win the Palme d'Or, but always good for a laugh or a lot of wincing. So if you're up for that, that'll be out, as I say, in the summer. We also have a trailer for Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronin's The Mummy, due to creep into cinemas in April. I'm looking forward to it. They've got to get one of these mummy movies right, surely. I think the only mistake they seem to make is always calling it The Mummy. So there are now like half a dozen movies called The Mummies, and you'll have to pick the right one. But
let's see. I mean, I reserve judgment because I have been wrong before, and I reserve judgment on this. And who's it been directed by? Remind me again.
Lee Cronin.
Yeah, he's quite good.
Yeah.
So
fingers crossed.
Let's see.
Disney's Tangled live-action remake has, according to reports, found its Rapunzel and Flynn Rider in the actors Tegan Croft and Milo Mahim. And Catherine Hahn, she's apparently an Australian TV star, and he's been in some Netflix, Amazon TV series as well. So they've gone unknown. But as I say, Catherine Hahn is in talks to play Mother Gothel. So still early stages and no production date as of yet set, but I believe those names are now officially attached to the project. After last week's trilogy of teaser trailers, we have another teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday, this time uniting the worlds of Black Panther and the Fantastic Four.
I've lost everyone that matters to me. The king has his duties to prepare our people for the afterlife. of mine.
King M'Baku of Wakanda.
Ben, Yancey Street, between Broome and Grand.
They're absolutely bombarding us with teaser trailers for this film that's not out for another 12 months. But I almost feel like with a movie that size, they don't need to trailer. It'll
I
just.
don't want the trailers. What are they doing?
That's strange, isn't
do
it?
we really need the trailers? Come
No.
on.
Basically, all you need to know is Avengers are back, and it's going to have everybody in it. So everybody, even the people that they told you were dead, they're back as well. So don't worry. And finally, this week, as we've mentioned before, we saw the Golden Globes ceremony, often used as a barometer for the Oscars, if only for cynics like me who might suggest that to win at the Golden Globes mean you might not win at the Oscars. But we shall see.
Oh, no, it's not always true.
No, it's not.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but it's not always true.
No, because
I'm wrong, anyway.
Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor in Musical or Comedy for his performance in Marty Supreme, and I think he, as Linda has said previously, is the hot tip for the Oscar.
You
backtracking.
I want him to win, and I think he's hot tip. I have been wrong in the past where like some real upsets have happened, but I can't see him not winning this. Generally, I mean, the other person who is likely to beat him would be Leo DiCaprio, and he is not really. He hasn't won any so far. I mean, he's been nominated for all of them, and he hasn't won any so far. So.
It doesn't feel like the sort of momentum gathering behind it, does it? So I think could be Timothy's turn. Jessie Buckley won Best Actress for drama performance in
She's
Hamlet.
going to win. She's going to win the Oscar. I have absolutely no doubt about this.
I think so. She's an incredible actress. Absolutely, never lets you down. And the film won Best Picture in the drama category as well, which I think I'll side with Linda. I don't think it's going to pick up the Oscar.
Could do. I don't know.
Could do.
Like I say, it's a very manipulative movie that loads of people. If you get loads of people going, it's going to be an upset, like in the same way as Coda. A few years ago, where I just thought Coda was a glorified TV movie. Have you ever heard anyone say anything about Coda in the last 5 years?
I'd completely forgotten about it.
Coda beaten like some of the best movies made that year. For me is an absolutely ridiculous thing, and I feel like I'm not saying Hamlet is Coda, but I'm just saying Hamlet is not. I wouldn't say it's like as cinematic as Marty Supreme or as one battle after another. So I'd be very annoyed if Hamlet won.
And speaking of one battle after another, Paul Thomas Anderson won Best Picture, Comedy or Musical, and he also picked up the award for Best Director and Best Screenplay. Thoroughly well deserved, absolutely. In the animation category, K-pop Demon Hunters took the award, which I think Linda approves of.
I love that movie. I love it.
No award for Bad Guys 2, outrageous. And Sinners won Best cinematic. It won Cinematic and Box Office Achievement. I have no idea what that means, but they gave
it's
it
like
that award.
Thanks for coming to the awards. You know?
That's right.
Thanks for turning up, awards.
Oh, nice to see you here. Here's a trophy.
Let's give you.
But it did also win Best Score, which I think is a fair.
Oh yeah, well deserved. Although I think Best Score should go for Train Dreams personally, but
that's an excellent shout. Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another won Best Supporting Actress, and Stellan Skarsgård won Best Supporting Actor for Sentimental Value.
Yeah, I wanted Sean Penn to win. I think Sean Penn should win, and I think Sean Penn will win the Oscar.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. And
Yeah.
just tidying up, Rose Byrne won Best Actress Musical or Comedy for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, whilst Wagner Moura won Best Actor in Drama. That was for Secret Agent, which also won Best Non-English Language Film. And yeah, so we will see how many of those will carry on to win the Oscar at the Academy Awards in 2 months' time.
Let's see.
And we'll bring you all of the news as we get it. Fantastic. So that's the end of the news for this week. Right. So now it is second review time for Linda.
Meet me in the foyer.
The incorrectly titled 28 Days Later, The Bone Temple has arrived, by my calculations, 207 days after its predecessor, 28 years later, with Nia DaCosta taking the reins from Danny Boyle for this fourth entry in the 28 Days Later franchise. We return to post-apocalyptic Britain to continue our adventures with Spike and Dr. Kelson. So will audiences leave with joy or infected with the same rage as the on-screen monsters?
Trying to predict the future is a discouraging and hazardous occupation. In fact, it may not even exist at all.
Oh, what is this I cannot see? Oh, I am deaf, none can excel.
Many of the things we take for granted will one day pass away completely.
I open the door of heaven and hell.
When that time comes, men will no longer communicate. We may have diseases and barbarism. The whole world will cease to make any sense.
I open the door of heaven and hell.
Look at the incredible changes we've experienced and survived. And yet even greater changes are still to come.
Are you ready?
My soul shall scream in hell.
You know, I love these movies. I have said over and over again, I absolutely love these movies. I will make as many of them as possible, make TV series if you want. I will never tire of them because for me, they are not just zombie movies. They are movies about what happens when society falls, when society crumbles, when things are no longer what they were. And it's not just about, I mean, I think loads of the traditional 1970s zombie movie also addressed all of that kind of stuff. But here it's done in a different way, and it's very British way as well. There's loads of sort of poetry in it as well. It's, as you said, this time directed by Nia DaCosta. Nia DaCosta doesn't have a ton of movies behind her, but every single one of her movies has done really well and has been met with sort of enthusiasm by people who really love movies. And we last saw her in that adaptation of Heather, which I thought was sensational. And I very sad to see it not doing much again in this award season. But that's fine. We don't make movies just for award season, and I think people really admire her direction. I think she's really pulled it off in this. And the screenplay is also by Alex Garland again, who, if anyone knows the ins and outs of this franchise, it's Alex Garland, and he's a really good person to have on your side, especially when it's your first time directing one of these movies. And I think she has done an incredible job here. So the story, it's set again straight after the 28 years later. So it's a direct follow-up of that movie. We saw it finish on Spike, played by Alfie Williams. Alfie Williams was getting some really good sort of feedback as well this year as one of the youngest performers. And all the sort of lists of young performers, he's appeared in them, and he's fabulous. So yeah, so in the last movie, we saw Spike leave the town where he was brought up, or the sort of enclosure where he was brought up on Holly Island, because he felt that he was no longer sort of happy with what was happening in his home, and after the death of his mother, and all of that ordeal. He meets, in the last scene of that, we see him meet the Jimmies, so to speak. So it's a group of sadistic, almost like a sadistic cult led by Jack O'Connell, who plays Jimmy Crystal, and he's like a sadistic leader of a cult-like faction known as the Jimmies, and it's like kind of like a chilling, deliberate nod to one of Britain's most notorious predators. I don't feel like I need to say his name. We all know who that is. And funnily enough, they're all dressed in these kind of like a sportswear, and with blonde wigs, cut in that kind of way. And so that they're going, he makes it, and he is almost forced by the O'Connell character to sort of to join his group. He isn't given the choice in that. The way you can join the group is by killing another Jimmy. If you take their place, you take over their persona, you wear the wig, and you get on with it. And he goes on, with his group of very young kids, actually, committing some of the most horrific crimes. Like, it's very violent. If you're not into violence and into, like, it's dark. It's actually more violent than anything I've seen before in this franchise. So go in knowing that. And I don't think that's anything to do with Neil DaCosta. I think it's because Alex Garland is involved, and that's how he wants it to be, and it's his screenplay. And as I say, it is extremely violent. So if you are averse to that kind of stuff, don't bother. And there isn't a great deal of like zombie stuff going on, apart from, so we meet again with Dr. Ian Kelson, who's played by Ralph Fiennes. Excellent again. I love Ralph Fiennes, and I think any movie could benefit with Ralph Fiennes being in it, and in this, he is absolutely excellent. And the sort of the meeting between him and Jimmy Crystal, because they are vying for the soul of Spike. Basically, Spike has been forced to join this group of absolutely horrific people who have been led to believe that they must commit these horrors to be able to stay with the group. And Spike hasn't yet been brainwashed into being part of it. He is part of it, but he's not his soul is not in it. So, as I say, there's a meeting of kind of like good and evil between Jimmy Crystal and Dr. GP Ian Kelson, and he's and there is one particular scene in which they meet and they decide that they are going to put on a show. I'm not going to give too much away, because it's really important that you don't know what the twist in it. I thought this was, again, absolutely brilliant. Also, there is another a subplot in which Dr. Ian Kelson has been studying this alpha. An alpha is this is like huge, absolutely like a leader of the zombies, and he's been dosing him with all sorts of drugs and giving him loads of sort of anxiety drugs, or more like calming drugs, and he's starting to see changes in. He called him Samson. He's played by Chi Lewis Parry. Fabulous, brilliant performance, and he's been dosing him, and he slowly starts to see a change in Samson, and that possibly is the kind of like the crux of the story, because we are met with a lot of evil things happening, but there's a lot of hope in it as well. So I thought this was so well done. I thought Nia DaCosta did a fabulous job directing it. It looks gorgeous. It's the performances are out of this world. JackOConnell, again, he can do no wrong. He's just absolutely incredible in this, and you really believe that he is that deranged and that twisted. As I say, the two main characters here are the doctor, the Ian Kelson and Jimmy Crystal, and they are your good and evil, your bad angel and good angel on your shoulders, and they are vying for your soul, and you have to decide who you want to follow. It is so well done, brilliantly done. I think she really pulls it off, and it's a real triumph for Nia DaCosta, who, as I say, doesn't have a great deal of films behind her. She's still quite young. She's got maybe 5 features, but she's probably produced the best thing she's ever done in this. And go see it and pay your money, go see it. Let's put The Housemaid back to bed in its box and go see a proper movie. Go see a proper movie. It's the first big movie of the year, and it's really worth it. And it's a sort of a hell of a movie to start the year with as a main one. So loved it.
Brilliant. Well, it's such it's so rare to see, or I think it's so rare to see an 18 certificate mainstream movie these days, which this is. So it'd be really interesting to see how it does.
It's so violent.
Yeah,
it's extremely violent. It will do well. People like zombie movies,
Of course, and
as I say, it's not a straightforward zombie movie, because it is about so much more than just being a zombie movie. But people who like the franchise will go, and if they discover that they like it for other reasons, that's even better.
Yes, and following so closely on the heels of the first one, it will surely help it as well. And I, like you, absolutely adore Ralph Fiennes. He's so good. I kind of feel like he's so good all the time. He could win the Best Actor award every time he steps out in front of a camera. He's just so brilliant.
And also, just a little thing, stay till the end, because there's a little surprise at the end that sets up the next movie. That's all I'm saying.
Good tip. Which, of course, intriguingly, they haven't started the next one, have they? Whereas this one was shot back to back.
If you like 28 Days Later, stay till the end.
Excellent. Well, that's a top tip from Linda this week, as that's your second choice for the box office. One for the family in the first one, and one for the adults with the second one. But no, fabulous. Thank you very much, Linda. That's great.
I also would like to mention just one last movie, and I know I'm not going to review it. I just want to mention it because it's out this week, and I think it's a really important movie. The Voice of Hind Rajab.
انت تغطيه وما تحاول ما تنزفيش، يعني حاولي انك تسكري الجو.
تمام، السيارة جاية.
الو، طوارئ الهلال الاحمر رام الله الضفة الغربية، عمر معك، تفضل. الو. شو اسمك انت؟
انا نجد حمادة. كنا تمام تنسيني. ماما غيرت حالي.
مهدي، احتمال احتاج سيارة اسعاف.
عمر حبيبي، احنا مجبورين نأمن له مسلك آمن.
إذا ما فيش معها وقت.
شايف هدول يا شب؟ خسرناهم كلهم. 8 دقايق ممكن تكلفهم حياتهم إذا ما عملناش التنسيق وعمارة.
They are shooting at a car with a little girl inside. Can you imagine that? So do something. تمهيدي؟ هند أنا جاي ناخدك إحنا.
كل ده مأمن فيني أنا بكون موجودة عشان
بس لسه في فضا، لسه معنا وقت.
Is also out this really incredibly moving Palestinian movie about a young girl who's her real voice, this young 6-year-old girl from Gaza, her real voice is used in the movie while she's stuck in a car that's been attacked by Israeli forces, and the whole of her family has been murdered, and she's on the phone to the Red Crescent, attempting to get someone to help her. And it's very moving, like quite sad, and actually a very urgent movie. I won't review it because we don't have time this week. Maybe I'll talk about it more next week, but it's out now, out on Friday, and go see it.
Oh, wonderful. Is that so is that a documentary or a live or sort of
No, it's a real
dramatization?
Dramatization, but they use, like in, I don't know if you saw Reality, where real all of the dialogue in Reality was redone, and some of it actually is on screen. But this is her voice all the way through, with conversations with all the people at the Red Crescent. It's very sad, and it's a very important movie to go and see. And if you are able to, go see it.
We'll look out for that one as well. Thank you very much.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, it's time now for another of Jawa's classic movie moments. And this week, I take a look at a film celebrating its 65th anniversary. It's a shaggy dog story, or should I say a spotty dog story. It spawned the first live-action remake of a Disney animation. And if you aren't already howling the name of the film at the speaker, I'm of course talking about the Disney classic 101 Dalmatians.
Brilliant.
15 Dalmatian puppies. Stolen.
Have they called the police?
The humans have tried everything. Now it's up to us dogs.
I'll sound the alert.
One long howl, two short, one yip and a woof.
2 yips, sir.
Sounds like a number. 3 5s of 13.
That's 15, sir.
15 spotted puddles stolen. Oh, balderdash.
It sounds like puppies, sir.
Of course, puppies. Hold on. There's smoke coming from the chimney.
Give me a match. We'll burn them out. Ready, Captain. Aim. Fire 1. Fire 2.
There they go! In the van! After them!
One Hundred One Dalmatians is a 1961 American animated adventure comedy film produced by Walt Disney. It was adapted from Dodie Smith's 1956 novel, The 101 Dalmatians. The film was directed by Hamilton Lusk, Clyde Geronimi, and Wolfgang Reitherman in his feature-length directorial debut, and from a script by Bill Peet. The plot follows Pongo and Perdita, two London-based Dalmatians who give birth to a litter of 15 puppies who are later kidnapped by the obsessive socialite Cruella de Vil, wanting to make their fur into coats. Pongo and Perdita set out on a cross-country rescue mission to save the litter from the maniacal Cruella. They rescue 84 additional Dalmatians in the process, bringing the total to 101. So this was released in January of 1961. So as I say, celebrating its 65th anniversary this month. Rod Taylor.
What year did you say?
61.
Okay.
I've got the math right, haven't I? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Rod Taylor voices Pongo, the urbane, dashing pet Dalmatian, and Kate Bauer and Lisa Daniels voice Perdita, his mate, should we say? J. Pat O'Malley and Fred Warlock play Jasper and Horace Baden, the mean and argumentative small-time crooks hired by Cruella. And they also voice other characters in the cast. And Betty Lou Gerson gives an absolute stellar all-time performance as Cruella de Vil, the erratic and ruthless aristocrat and dog napper. So the voice cast, you can tell, features a number of staple regulars from the Disney cast. You have people that you'll hear in films like Robin Hood and The Jungle Book, giving wonderful performances. It's quite a small cast because they actually almost all of them do multiple parts, which is just wonderful. The two henchmen I particularly love because it's that they're doing that classic Hollywood trying to do a sort of Cockney accent thing, and it sort of inhabits the same world as Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and they're not quite Dick Van Dyke Cockneys, but they're in that same sort of ballpark. And Betty Lou Gerson's performance as Cruella, as I said, is just unbelievable. It's brilliant. She creates with the animation one of the sort of most iconic villains in Disney, if not cinema. So brilliantly cast. As I said, it was based on Dodie Smith's novel, which I read as a child multiple times and absolutely love the book. They've made some changes, but not too radical. They've amalgamated a few characters. They've taken out one female dog, sort of simplified the plot a little bit. But the book was a huge success when it came out in 1956 and was immediately bought up by Disney to turn into a film, which Smith later revealed she was absolutely delighted by and hoped would be the case, unlike Mary Poppins, which had a slightly different genesis, as we've seen in Saving Mr. Banks. The film followed Sleeping Beauty for Disney, which was actually a commercial failure, and so they needed Dalmatians to be a hit, and fortunately it was an absolutely huge hit. It was I think the second biggest film of the year, and it's gone on to be one of the biggest successes in the whole history of Disney, which is a high mark indeed. It's the first time in Disney's history that one person wrote the screenplay for one of their animations, and in fact they then wouldn't repeat that until Basil the Great Mouse Detective in 1986. So obviously, because what they did with this one is they wrote the whole script first before doing any storyboarding, and then moved on to that process. But that's not how they work anymore. So as I say, Pete, who wrote the screenplay, he amalgamated some characters, such as Mrs. and Perdita, who were in the book, and he did the same with Nanny Cook and Nanny Butler, although that's less crucial to the plot, one has to admit. But again, it's another thing that makes me think of Mary Poppins, because you've got these sort of housemaids and love a duck, all running around, very very sort of upstairs downstairs in the cast. For some reason, later in the film, they meet a dog, a cat, and a horse, who are sort of run like a sort of dad's army setup, with the dog being the captain, and then the cat is a sergeant, and the horse is the corporal. In the book, the cat is a female, but for some reason they changed it into a male in the film, for whatever reason. But otherwise, yeah, very true to the book. a great adaptation of a wonderful book. I would have thought drawing 101 Dalmatians with each with individual spot patterns must have been an absolute nightmare. But they were using a new process at Disney at the time, which was called Xeroxing, where they were able to transfer the drawings straight onto cells, and that saved them inking time and money, which they desperately needed to do because Disney was actually thinking of shutting down the animation part of Disney Studios, which seems unthinkable now. But he was becoming more and more obsessed with his Disney World and his Disneyland. So as I say, they saved money in that process, and it saved them probably years in trying to identify each dog with an individual pattern of spots. But it's beautifully done. I was watching it, as I say, this week, and when the dogs move, the spots move in the right way, so it looks like the muscles of the dog. But they then make it even harder for themselves. Again, this is from the book, but the middle section is set at Christmas. In fact, most of the third act is set at Christmas, which means you've got 101 white Dalmatians walking through snowy countryside. So you've got white dogs on white backgrounds, but it works. They pull it off, and it's a beautiful film to look at. It's quite an unusual one. It's got a different style. The background styles are different to your classic Disney. It's sort of more abstract, sketchy visual style, and it's different in other ways as well because it's got virtually no music. It's not a musical Disney film, which is quite rare these days. I don't know that they ever released one that isn't a out and out musical. But it does have a few songs, such as Cruella de Vil, which is like the main theme, which is absolutely brilliant, done in 3 different ways throughout the film, and is the key to Roger, the Pongo's owner, being able to be the hero at the end of the film. Apparently, they cast actors with deeper voices for the role of the dogs, so they could be more powerful than the human characters. Because there's a lovely sort of twist right at the beginning of the film, where it opens with narration as you sort of zoom in through London into one particular flat, and you think the character talking is the human Roger, but it's not. It's actually the dog Pongo, and he calls Roger, his owner, his pet. And the dogs see the humans as sort of characters they have to look after, which leads to them setting up this meet cute moment where they set him up with the character who will become his wife. So Roger and Anita are set up by their dogs, Perdita and Pongo, and then you get this dual marriage. Although they were slightly worried about the censors saying that people might take offence at dogs being married in a religious ceremony. So you just get a sort of conclusion of the couple kissing, and you pull out and you see the dogs sort of mimicking what's going on. It's very, very sweet. Interestingly, as I said earlier, Perdita's voiced by 2 actresses because Kate Bauer she got married during the filming process and left the country. So she was then replaced by Lisa Daniels, and they didn't re-record the whole film with Lisa Daniels. They just merged it together, and you can't tell, to be honest. So that's a little oddity. And watching it, for me, Cruella de Vil's voice, she really reminded me of Diana Rigg in Evil Under the Sun, playing this sort of grandiose, narcissistic, arrogant actress. People said at the time that they thought Gerson was actually basing the voice on Tallulah Bankhead, but although she said she hadn't, she excused this as saying that both of them have southern accents, and they both put on phony English accents above that, sort of that classic golden era of Hollywood transatlantic voice that so many actors and actresses had. And there's sort of hints of Eartha Kitt in there as well, and the actual animation is based on Betty Davis. So you've got a whole sort of amalgamation of Hollywood royalty in this one character, which I think has to play a huge part in Cruella, as I was saying, being one of the most iconic screen characters in all of cinema. She's absolutely brilliant. It steals the film completely, really. So as I say, it followed Sleeping Beauty and in many ways saved Disney Studios and allowed them to carry on making animations. The actors, as with many Disney films, provided live action references for the animators. So they would film lots of scenes with the actors moving about, and then they would be drawn up into the feature film. And as I say, although it's a non-musical Disney film, a bit of a rarity, it does have a couple of songs. And the Sherman Brothers, the classic composers of Disney Studios, who did any Disney song you care to mention in this period, the Sherman Brothers wrote it. Did write a main theme for the film, but they ended up not using it, which is one I must have to seek out, because I'd love to hear what they came up with for 101 Dalmatians. So yeah, in its initial theatre run, it grossed 14 million in the United States and Canada. It was the first animated feature to earn more than 10 million on its initial release, and was the most popular film in France, and pulled the animation department out of the financial slump that it had been in. It got critical acclaim at the time. Many called it the best Disney release since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and the closest to a real Disney film, quotation marks, in many years. Howard Thompson of the New York Times wrote, "Whilst the story moves steadily toward a stark melodramatic chase climax, it remains enclosed in a typical Disney frame of warm family love, humane and canine." Although he did state later that the songs are scarce and a few more would have braced the final starkness, which I can see, but it's such a great story. As I say, it's a wonderful book. If you haven't read it, I do recommend it. I absolutely adore the book. And I turn, as I almost always do, to Roger Ebert. And I've said before, no one gets it right all the time. And unfortunately, on this occasion, Roger doesn't get it right, because he does give it 3 out of 4 stars. But he says it's an uneven film with moments of inspiration and a fairly conventional tale of kidnapping and rescue. This is not one of the great Disney classics. It's not in the same league with Snow White or Pinocchio, but it's passable fun and will entertain its target family audience. Sorry, Rog, you're wrong. It's a classic. It's absolutely brilliant. The gags are great. The characters are wonderful. I mean, what I love most about this is the Twilight barking sequence. There's something about it. I got it when I read the book as well. It's sort of haunting, imagining that sort of dogs are talking, and the howling at night is sending messages across the country. It's sort of, I don't know, sort of mythic, sort of folk story feeling to it. I don't know. Yeah, and then of course, as I mentioned earlier, what's genius about that Twilight barking is it transitions the film from one act to the other, where you've had this whole first act in London with the main characters, and then all of a sudden, through barking dogs crossing the country, you're out in the countryside and you meet the colonel, the cat, and the horse, and the comedy. Those are sort of more comedy characters, and it gives you sort of a feeling of Dad's Army about it, and lots of other brilliant dog characters. And I just think that's such wonderful writing to do that. It spawned a live action remake in 1996, which is actually the first live action remake of a Disney film, a Disney animation. And now we are inundated with them, with more still to come. Moana coming in the near future. But this is where they started back in 1996. And there was a straight to DVD sequel, 102 Dalmatians, which came out in 2000. And in 2021, we got the live action Cruella sort of spin-off, which I wasn't a huge fan of, I have to say. You know, Emma Stone is a brilliant actress, but I didn't think that was a great film. But the sequel is coming to that as well. So more.
I thought she was okay. I quite liked the movie, actually. I didn't think it was brilliant, but I thought she was quite good, and I quite liked her in it.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, I thought she was very good, but I thought the direction wasn't great, and it kind of felt like a sort of collection of music videos in many ways. There were sort of too many sections and too many songs. But what do I know? As I say, it's getting a sequel, so I'll no doubt I'll be watching that one too. So, but you know, if you agreed with Roger and you didn't think this was a Disney classic and you haven't caught it, I recommend going out and catching it now as it celebrates its 65th anniversary. A perhaps overlooked Disney classic, 101 Dalmatians.
Bravo.
Very much.
Great. Always like a classic animation, always, you know.
Yeah, wonderful film, wonderful film. Not and I think it's easy to be overly critical of Disney films, but I think they are sometimes, as you mentioned earlier with a different film, they can be sort of heavy-handedly manipulative. But I don't get that from this film. It's just because it's based on such a great book that you know.
And I think I'm okay with films aimed at children to be a bit soppy and like manipulative, you know. It's when a film is presented to adults and it's kind of all a bit of, you know, this is how I would like you to feel right now with the music and all that. I just find that a little bit, you know, a bit too obvious. But hey.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. But now our time together is concluded for another week. Security is starting to look at us in a way that suggests we should be vacating the foyer of this beautiful picture house, and we'll escape out into the night. So let's part ways with the agreement that we meet again in the foyer next week. So until then, I want to thank Linda very much for her wonderful reviews and joining me again.
Thank you. Thank you for your review.
Oh no,
I might
you're more than
watch
welcome.
it this weekend again.
I recommend it. So we'll meet again next week. We'll help you decide what film you'll be seeing next week at the box office, or your local multiplex, or independent cinema. But don't forget, subscribe so you can get all of our special episodes, all of our past reviews, the full-length director's cuts of all of these shows. Like, subscribe, and share. But until next time. Take care.
Adios.
And for now, goodbye.
Bye.
Meet me in the foyer.